844-43-BIBLE.
Getting out of debt is just the beginning. Financial peace can change everything, folks. Learn how to take control of your money with The Ramsey Show. Tonight at 6 on Wood Radio.
Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on Wood Radio.
Now, welcome in. It is a beautiful, gorgeous, sunshiny start to the day, although all that sun still doesn't seem like it's going to help do the trick to warm us up too much. We'll explain coming up what you can expect a little bit later on. Plus, big news. They said that, this guy, you got it all wrong. Not the first time the media's screwed something up. We'll tell you the latest on the January 6th pipe bomber story and more. Hang on, folks. West Michigan Live.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. You can talk about these around the water cooler at the dinner table, no matter where you are. Powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team ready to help you. We got some big movement, it sounds like, this week. We'll get another update from the Fed. Could see those rates drop yet again. Predictions all across the board on that, but Dave will fill us in. We'll talk to him a little bit later this week. In the meantime, you can talk to him right now. Pick up the phone or go online to hhmlending.com and see how they can help you, like they've helped me and so many others who listen to this program. Safe time. They're faster, they're better than the big hmlending.com.
Number one.
Well, the stories that you won't hear anywhere else, folks. Those big three today. Supreme Court will agree to hear the birthright citizenship case.
Number two.
Yeah, they're going to get this probably in the next year or so. We'll have a ruling on it. But this is the story that says, Trump, you bring your kid, you bring your family here, or you come here and you have kids. You're not here legally. Those kids aren't automatically citizens. That could have major implications on immigration, obviously. Another train stabbing in Charlotte. The suspect's been deported twice, speaking of which. DHS on Saturday identifying the suspect, a 33-year-old Oscar Gerardo Soloronzo Garcia. He's been arrested in connection with stabbing on a light rail train in Charlotte. You used to hear about New York City and how rough things were there, and even D.C. and Chicago, but Charlotte, North Carolina. You remember this is where Irina Zarutska, and in fact, we've got Irina's Law now, but Irina Zarutska was stabbed and killed. This is the second time. Honduras not sending their best. That story and the details still coming out.
Number three.
A judge has unsealed the Jeffrey Epstein grand jury documents, thanks to President Trump and that push, obviously, to get that done. Now, you said, wait a minute, he didn't want them out. Oh, well, is that right? Because these judges refused to unseal these grand jury documents until he started calling the whole thing a hoax. Then Democrats jumping in and chomping at the bit to get the stuff released. And finally, he said, all right, put it out there. Is it 3D chess? I don't know. I will tell you this. The one thing that I think is kind of interesting about this whole ordeal is, where are the Democrats lately? They just seem to be lost in the shuffle on this stuff. I haven't heard them demanding anything, and yeah, that's the sound of crickets there from those folks, which is, well, I guess it's par for the course, isn't it? All right, lots to get to today, so we won't waste any more time. We'll make sure that we bring you up to speed on these stories and more. And you want to weigh in? Now's your time. Hit the phone line.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
I'm looking at 9 right now, as in the temperature. I think we only get up to 24 today. And did I hear Kirkwood say earlier that this is like maybe the 4th coldest start to December on the books so far? Yeah, that's not fun. But yet here we are. The cold doesn't bother me as much, and the snow I can deal with too. It's really not an issue for me. The thing that I miss the most during wintertime here in West Michigan is the sun. But we've got that on full display, at least for right now, so try and soak it up if you can. Big stories today, ones that we haven't even touched yet. The January 6th pipe bomber, we've got the brand new, the latest released. Matter of fact, we've seen over the weekend, they always try to do their best to politicize this type of thing as much as they can, run with it. Democrats, the media, but I repeat myself, they're pros at this. This story from the Daily Mail, January 6th pipe bomb. By the way, not like they're big fans of Trump either. January 6th pipe bomber suspect is an autistic recluse, computer nerd, and, quote, he is not a Trump supporter. That's according to the family of this individual who is accused of placing those pipe bombs on January 6th. Now, why? So why do you bring this up? Good question. Why does this matter? Why all of a sudden do we have to hear about this? Why is this a big deal? Well, it's a big deal, and largely because I would say that it completely goes against each and every sentiment, everything that you're going to hear when it comes to what is being reported in the news. Every single time they want to try and twist it. Every single time they want to sort of like crowbar Trump into all kinds of things, especially where he doesn't belong. So this is that particular moment. And this is that piece, again, where I just tell you the truth. You don't hear it. By the way, there's another hoax out there that I've got to set the record straight on today. I can spot them a mile away at this point, each and every time they pop up with a new one. Each and every time. So, what's the latest? Well, I'll give you a hint. Has to do with the cabinet, and each time they try to do what the ultimate goal is, trying to weaken Trump and his ability to be the president. That's essentially what their goal is. So here's the story about the January 6th pipe bomber. 30-year-old Virginia man accused of planting pipe bombs near Capitol Hill on the eve of January 6th, 2021. An autistic recluse and computer nerd who has no party affiliation, his grandmother told the Daily Mail on Friday. There was a hoax that came out. I want to say there was probably Thursday of last week, Thursday, Friday, somewhere. All these days sort of run together now. But you get my gist. It was last week at some point where they came out to say that the guy who they had caught, the reason he did it is that he thought that the 2020 election was stolen. That's essentially why he did it. So he was in court the other day. There's a confession that's on the books as well, and so this is part of what they believe took place. That's why the family's speaking out too, because he's saying, these are not the case. Ryan Cole confessed, told the FBI interrogators that he is a Trump supporter and holds anarchist views. That's according to MS Snow or whatever they're calling themselves now, MSDNC 13, formerly in MSNBC. Now, get this. This will sound familiar. They're citing unnamed sources. Unnamed sources. Yeah, that's every time. Every time. But Loretta, his grandmother, said Cole has no party affiliation and never votes. Rather, he keeps to himself, living in his mother's basement in Woodbridge, Virginia, where he's been grieving the loss of his beloved pet Chihuahua. You can't make this stuff up. That's what his grandmother said. Also, while working on a data entry job for his family's bail bonds business. He's not politically affiliated with anything, the grandmother told the Daily Mail during an interview at her home in Gainesville, Virginia. He has no social media contacts. He's never online going back and forth with politics or anything like that. He says he doesn't like either party. Actually, this is exactly what she said. He says he don't like either party. That's just, I'm assuming. That's exactly how it's printed, by the way. He's borderline autistic, she added. He's slow. He may be 30, but he's got the mind of a 16-year-old. That's why we're thinking, what the H-E-double hockey sticks? What's going on? She said FBI agents swooped in to search her office on the southern outskirts of Washington, D.C. on Thursday, the same day they arrested her grandson. She said her son, Brian Cole Sr., had a message passed to her son at his arraignment on Friday. And by the way, I've looked up the attorneys who are going to be overseeing this case for him, and I don't think they have a very strong record when it comes to this type of defense, which is going to be interesting as well. Now, it's got people asking the question: Is this guy some patsy? Is he really the guy that was behind it? And if certainly all these things are as they're being reported to us, that he's, a bit slow, he's autistic, he doesn't have a social media profile, things of that nature, which I don't know if he doesn't have a social media profile. He probably doesn't have one the grandmother knows about. Let's just put it that way. If he does, there's probably all kinds of things that he's into that she just doesn't know about, or different accounts that he may have. But I do think it begs the question, is there more to this story? And I certainly would imagine there probably is a lot more to the story that we just don't have all the answers to. But here's what else the Daily Mail says about Brian Cole Jr. We were told that the main thing he's very upset about is that he disappointed us, that he got locked up, the grandmother told the Daily Mail. We told him we're out here. We're going to make sure things get taken care of. We're terrified, she said. They say they've got all this evidence. Whatever happened, we've still got to fight it. We have to figure out what to do. Now, they're also a bail bonds company. In fact, I believe the father, maybe he was involved in this, but involved in suing the Trump administration, we learned last week, too. Suing the Trump administration over undocumented illegal alien deportation is the way we should put it. That's how they write it. But again, none of that really give you any inclination that he was a Trump supporter. None of that. So again, if he was responsible, as in he's the man dropping off the bombs, did he make the bombs? Or did he just drop them off? And further questions I would ask, I want to know more about it, is how did he learn how to make the bombs? If he made the bombs. See, I'm glad we have this guy in custody. I'm glad that we have a little bit of accountability, a little bit of a step in the right direction here. But what I'm more interested is, how did all of this come about? What was the plan? Were there any influences? Was he nudged? On Friday, we told you about the connection to Michigan with this January 6th pipe bomb case. The man in charge of the Washington, D.C. Bureau, the FBI, who was investigating this for the last several years, was the same man at the helm in Detroit during the Whitmer Fednapping case. Why is that important? because we've learned now that, 12 out of those 18 some odd people that were involved in that whole ordeal were working with or for the FBI. Oh, yeah, he was there on January 6th, which brings a whole load of questions. Yeah. We'll continue on that. I gave you the latest. There is more on his family saying that confession that was made, probably a false confession. The latest hoax they're pushing, we'll get to that as well, coming up in minutes this morning. Welcome into the fastest hour in radio. It's already flying by. Back after this on West Michigan Live. It's Wood Radio.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Monday, December 8th. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Here in Michigan, a left-leaning leader of the 2024 Uncommitted movement, a man by the name of Abbas Alawi, launches his campaign to run for the Michigan Senate. It's another sign Michigan Democrats are shifting farther to the progressive left. In other news, more negative news about Governor Whitmer's Michigan. Close to 1 million households are apparently behind on their energy bills as utility hike rates comply with green energy mandates that Governor Whitmer supports. And Secretary of State Democrat Jocelyn Benson loses again in court. A judge rules against her illegal absentee ballot rule change. This is a major win for election integrity. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Hi, I'm Congressman John Molinar. I supported the One Big Beautiful Bill to permanently extend.
I welcome in, folks. Appreciate you, locals, VIPs, hanging out today. Apologies for that technical glitch this one. I don't know what happened. It's not on our end. It looks like it was a locals thing, but we did get it fixed. Panda Gritter, good to see you. Carol, good to see you too. Michigan Joe, good to see you. Junkman, Mendo, Mark. I can't tell you everyone that has become a lifetime. Some people have asked it. Don't tell, don't say. But thank you for your support. The lifetime VIPs, we just had a last minute one drop in yesterday. If you reached out about that, thank you so much for your support. Boy, oh boy, you just wouldn't believe. It just makes this all possible, and we thank you for it. You know who you are. Some of them will know because they'll have stars by their names, by the way. These are the lifetime VIP supporters in the chat. Gentlemen, good to see you over on Rumble. Such a time as this. SJ, Tennisel, History Diggers, Mando, and more. Facebook, the Bookers are in full effect. Doug, we got you. Deanne coming in loud and clear. Bruce, Jason, I got a story for you out of California. Hang on, folks. Don't go anywhere. Oh, my goodness. We were all over the place over the weekend. On your feet for the holidays or whether it's every day, you're going to need some comfort and support, the kind that the Good Feet store always provides. Those folks make it easy. Our oldest celebrated her 5th birthday on Saturday, and this is what our day looked like. This is kind of the insanity of the season, but it was so worth it. We started with a trip to see reindeer in the morning, and then we went to a live nativity. Eventually in the afternoon, Grandma came over. We did a little bit of cake and we did some pizza, and then Mom was like, "Hey, we are going to maybe go see this tree lighting. Do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness. Oh, I think we could probably pack it in and pass on that." But we did so much over the weekend, and putting the toys together, playing with the girls, and obviously all that stuff for the presents and for the birthday fun. It's so much fun. And again, you can do it in comfort with the folks at the Good Feet store. We thank them for their support of this program, but also the support of me on a daily basis, being able to do everything that it is that I'm called to do, want to do. And of course, being the dad, being out there, being able to support them. And you can too. When you walk into the Good Feet store today, go check them out and see for yourself. 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's at the Good Feet store. I'm telling you, just tell them I sent you and they will take the greatest care of you. All right, so what's the latest hoax? Because there's a new one popping up here. In fact, I'm just starting to see it now. It revolves around Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security. There is a report from some rag called The Bulwark saying that Trump wants to kick her out of the role. Now, I tell you why I believe this is completely buck, and there's a few reasons for it, but I can't think of anything she's done to have him want to kick her. They really don't give much of an excuse for this. There's some talk about an advisor, but by the way, it's already being reported, folks speaking out saying this is not a real story. So just to let you know, the latest hoax du jour, and I'll dig into that coming up in a little bit so you can be educated and be willing and able to talk about it if it does come up. But more importantly, there's another story that is real that we have to dig into, and that's all this Somali. It's not just Minnesota. They're finding out all of this fraud from folks, Somali fraud. The money now, they say, being used, welfare money and things like that, being used, sent overseas, and maybe even funding terrorism. We'll talk about the billions upon billions of dollars they believe is at the center of it. Back after this on West Michigan Live. Don't go anywhere. Sword Radio.
Stream us.
Okay, getting smarter now.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. Hey.
Alrighty then. Did anybody watch Marjorie Taylor Greene? Apparently there was a big 60 Minutes moment last night. I didn't get to see it yet. I got to pull some of this up for you. We'll do just that coming up here in just a little bit too. But yeah, I did not get a chance to see that interview in its entirety. Apparently it's being reported largely online that there's 13 minutes of it. I don't want to play the whole thing because and honestly got to be careful about how much we play because we get copyright hits and all that. But Atlanta First News, that's part of where her district is, right? Reporting on ongoing death threats that she's been talking about.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking out about what led to her sudden decision to resign from Congress come this January. Atlanta News First, Alani Latang is live for us tonight in Midtown. And Alani, what is the Republicans saying tonight?
So on X, Marjorie Taylor Greene representative is telling us that she's reported $773 death threats. These are threats that are coming to her office via phone call or email, not including the countless online threats her and her family have received. And last month, Green had blamed this escalation on her current feud with President Donald Trump.
He called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
Yeah. First of all, hasn't she used those words too? And talking about radicalizing, I just look. I understand that this is a very tense time. I get it, but there is nothing new happening here. So in this story, again, I don't know who to believe. I don't know what to believe. We've talked about this. I don't know if she's part of some sort of plan to distance herself from Trump, and then she wants to run as governor or senator there in Georgia, and they feel like that. Maybe she feels like she got a better shot doing that. I don't know. That part is kind of hard to know. I can speculate. You can speculate, but the sources, people that I would have that would, be able to weigh in on this, I don't know. I don't know that many people know. I don't think she's a traitor either, Sean. I think maybe Trump feels like maybe he betrayed him. She betrayed him. But a traitor to the country, no. I mean, there's too many. There's too many out there running around right now that actually deserve that title. Why is she running to the left-wing media to tell the story, Dick asked. Yeah, it's a good question. That is a very fair question. Cook Garden Cell says, I think MTG was not getting the attention she wanted. There's something to be said about that as well, isn't there? I don't know. I don't know if it's attention necessarily, or if there was something else that it could be the death threats, but I just don't think that's new. I think she's been getting threats since the day she became vocal and outspoken. It's weird, though, to see her go from very strong to very... Here's why I don't buy that, okay? If you're getting all these death threats, you're just going to disappear. You're not going to go on television, talk more, and make these people even more mad that you're supposedly afraid of. Does that make sense? I hope I'm saying this in a way that if I'm getting threats and I'm really concerned about my life, I just don't know that this is something that I'm going to go on television and talk about.
And then Green says after what Trump had said, new threats from people from her own party started to come in. She says assassination threats had been sent directly on her son. Green says even things like opening her mail has been potentially deadly, and showed a video of what appears to be law enforcement with gloves opening an envelope in June 2024. Addressed to her, she says has a syringe inside. Representative Green then tells Republicans to take a hard look in the mirror, throwing the blame back on the Trump administration. She adds a congressional Republican majority who takes orders from the White House and relinquishes all control to the executive branch is not serving the will of its voters. Now, she ends with tweeting out that she says that death threats and political violence is out of control and the political industrial complex.
Got to get back to there. Hang on.
ManagementMI.com.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Doing our best to make sense of it all as we cut through the biggest stories of the day. Here it's the cold, without a doubt. But the sun shining through, certainly adding a little bit of a brightness to make it through these cold, dark days of winter, right? And they've come very quickly here in December. We're in for it, folks. Hey, I've got story after story after story we're going to try and get through today, and we're going to make sure that we do our best for you on this Monday morning, bringing you back up to speed with the things that you're just not going to hear anywhere else. More Somali fraud. How about this? A man from Somalia came to America, started a nonprofit, and opened a multi-million-dollar migrant care service agency. That's what he calls it, multi-million migrant care service agency. He's getting over $5 million per year from the American taxpayers, being given no big contracts from Maine Governor Janet Mills. Oh, you thought this was Minnesota? Nope, you're going to find out shortly. In fact, you're talking about it in Columbus and Ohio and several other different places where this type of thing is happening. And this is the scam. It's all related to the NGOs. Each one of these non-governmental organizations, lots of them are nonprofits. And that's not to say that every nonprofit's bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. But that's how they've hidden a lot of this waste, fraud, and abuse, because you can't ever turn off the spigot when you're saying, well, this is for the puppies in, Nigeria. If you turn this off, you're going to kill the puppies. Or it's for the children, the starving children. There was one I saw, I think it was Minnesota. They had raised all of this money and supposedly taken in millions upon millions and only fed like a very small, I'm talking handful of people. That was it. Now, how do you even make sense of all of that? This guy's getting over $5 million per year from American taxpayers, being given no bid contracts from Maine Governor Janet Mills, and is building a military in Somalia. This is where your money is going. This is why they were so upset when Elon and Doge wanted to shut off USAID. He's been funneling money back to Somalia to build a military. The guy running a migrant services agency that bills Maine Care, which is what we call Medicaid, about $5 million a year. He said he raised money in the U.S. to buy weapons, munitions, and supplies for paramilitary force he had hoped to lead as the president of Jubaland. No idea. Couldn't even tell you where that is. I can tell you where Croton is. Jubaland, Cedar Tucky, I know well. Terry in our chat over on the locals, he knows. One of Cedar Tucky's finest. But Jubaland, no clue. It's a real state in Somalia. And to be clear, in Somalia, he's running to be the warlord of Jubaland. $5 million. Now think about this. We've got all kinds of problems. Homeless vets, all of these issues that you look at, I look at, and we go, why is this even, how have we not fixed this? Well, when you got guys peeling off $5 million here, $5 million there to build their own military to be the warlord of Jubaland in Somalia, I guess you got real problems, don't you? See, elections in Jubaland aren't exactly like elections in America. It's whoever has the most guns is able to certify the election. Well, and now that I think about it, that kind of does sound familiar, doesn't it? Well, he needed to buy a paramilitary organization and a paramilitary support in order to win that election. That's what the goal was. Abdullah, I don't know I'm saying the guy's name right. Abdullah Ali's background came to Maine, founded Gateway Community Services, a migrant services nonprofit. Again, I told you, the NGO. Gateway Community Services receives millions in taxpayer-funded Maine Care payments and no-bid contracts from Democrat Governor Janet Mills and their administration there in Maine. It's more than most in Maine. Apparently, they got wannabe Somalian warlords from Jubaland in Maine as well. That's where Tucker Carlson is, too. I don't know this time of year. He's probably down in Florida, but that's his summer place. Former employees allege systematic fraudulent billing, overbilling by at least $1 million in earlier audits, and the governor there, Janet Mills, created the Office of New Americans. Doesn't that sound familiar? Sounds to me like something Whitmer did, too. The sole employee of this office is from Sudan, a former Gateway Community Services staffer. The fraud and the kickbacks, it's alleged, and money laundering by Democrats is just mind-blowing. And yet here we have it. Yet another story. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, Tim Walz is just the tip of the iceberg. Minnesota, just the tip of the iceberg. Minneapolis, just the tip of the iceberg on all of this.
Let's introduce you to Somali-American Abdullah Ali, who came to the U.S. from Somalia in 2009. You're looking at, obviously, the man on my right who had discovered this story. He became a U.S. citizen, started a nonprofit to help immigrants, started several businesses, including a multi-million-dollar migrant care service agency. And in 2024, he ran for president as he raised money to bankroll a militia in Somalia. Yes, you heard that right. A U.S. citizen who, according to the Main Wire, gave an interview with Kenyan media in which he said he raised money in the U.S. to buy weapons, munitions, and supplies for paramilitary force he had hoped to lead as the president of Jubaland. Yes, that is a real state in Somalia. He was running for president in Somalia. Of course, he lost the election. We reached out to the Gateway Community Services in Maine, which Ali founded, did not hear back, ironically enough. The man who broke this report, editor-in-chief of the Maine Wire, Steve Robinson, dude, this is crazy.
You really can't make this stuff up. I mean, the guy's running a migrant services agency that bills MaineCare, which is what we call Medicaid, about $5 million a year. At the same time that he's running for president, and to be clear,
in Somalia,
that he's running to be the warlord of Jubaland. Elections in Jubaland aren't exactly like elections in America. It's, whoever has the most guns is able to certify the election. So he needed to buy a paramilitary organization and paramilitary support in order to win that election, and he lost it. But at the very same time that he was in Jubaland and Kenya trying to become a warlord in southern Somalia, he was getting no-bid contracts from the administration of Governor Janet Mills, a Democrat who has been in cahoots with Gateway Community Services from the very beginning. So if there's one thing that I would implore your listeners to understand, it's in Minnesota and in Maine, it's not just the Somali diaspora that has come over here and decided to engage in this criminal behavior. It's an industrial complex with the Democratic Party that enables and turns a blind eye to this behavior.
Yeah, that's exact. It's not like I want to turn this back because this is not exactly correct. It's not that they enable and turn a blind eye to it. This is exactly what the system isn't broken, folks. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is this is exactly how it's supposed to operate. This is exactly what they've intended this thing to operate as. This is the Cloward and Piven, just do everything you can to collapse the system on its own weight, and in this case, the weight of the corruption. Stephen Miller puts it.
Based on what we have found so far, we believe that the Somali fraud operation in Minnesota is the single greatest theft of taxpayer dollars through welfare fraud in American history.
Thank you, Tim Walz. Guy could have been the vice president. And now he's mad people are driving past his house and calling him names. I don't know if you've seen this, but he's very mad about this now. And so they've been trying to make a big deal of the amount louder he gets about people calling him names, the more people hear what has actually happened in Minnesota, and they just you can't wrap your head around it, what he's allowed to happen.
We believe that we have only scratched the very top of the surface of how deep this goes. And you're familiar with all the scams with pretending that children have autism who are not in fact autistic, with pretending to enroll people in food programs when in fact nobody was ever enrolled, and engaging in massive fraud, lying, and theft and grift on a scale we've never seen before in American history.
Got to see arrests. We got to see these people sent back. And when I say these people, that might even be Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar, she's making the rounds. CBS defaced the nation over the weekend, talking about a department I've never heard of.
The Secretary of Egg to...
I've never heard of the Secretary, the Department of Egg?
The Secretary of Egg.
What is that agriculture? Ag, maybe she's talking about? I mean, I understand the USDA oversees the eggs. From chickens. What's she?
Secretary of Egg to the Secretary of Egg.
Anyway, I don't still want to marry her brother again. That's the accusation. And they're looking, by the way, they're looking into her. They're looking into Tim Walz. And they're also looking into that radical Keith Ellison, who's the attorney general there in Minnesota as well.
And I'm saying
so should the police officers be, I guess, arresting folks who they feel are using excessive force?
Look, the police chief, Brian O'Hara, great.
And that's an MSDNC 13 anchor who asked Keith Ellison, the AG there in Minnesota, should police officers be arresting ICE? Well, listen to his response. He started with a well.
Man, by the way, is well able to speak for himself. But I think what he's hoping is to prevent. This is why he's making the comment now, so that it doesn't ever come to that. So that ICE agents will observe the requirements of the law, and that and that they will know that we're not going to stand by and let them break the law.
Yeah, I've got more good news. I got more good news, by the way. You say like all of this is horrific. And by the way, I had a conversation about this weekend. You could say all of these things are, and they are. They're really bad. But the good news is we're finding out about it. The good news is you're finally getting to hear about these things that have been happening for so long. It's finally getting exposed, and that's how it works. Eventually, evil in this type of thing does get exposed. The truth does come out. It does take time, and we're in the find out era, folks. 100%, but it may not be moving at the speed of what some of us want to see. Good news again. I've got more good news to explain to you coming up in just a moment. You're not going to want to miss this. Back next, West Michigan Live.
Make your smart speaker smarter. Stream us.
Okay, getting smarter now.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Monday, December 8th. I'm Robin Kaufman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. She fails yet again. Secretary of State Democrat Jocelyn Benson loses again in court. A judge has ruled against her a legal absentee ballot rule change. This is a major win for election integrity. Here in Michigan, a left-leaning leader of the 2024 Uncommitted movement, a guy by the name of Abbas Alawi, launches his campaign for the Michigan Senate. It is another sign that Michigan Democrats are shifting way further to the progressive left. And more negative news about Governor Whitmer's Michigan. Close to 1 million households here in Michigan are apparently behind on paying their energy bills. This as utility hike rates comply with green energy mandates that Governor Whitmer has supported. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Robotic-assisted surgery at Trinity.
All right, folks. Rolling. Oh, this is good. I don't know that I'm going to be able to play all this on the air, but I'll play some of it off the air for you. Senator Kennedy, 4 minutes of him going through the Somali fraud.
This one makes you want to throw up in a potted plant.
Oh! He is always a joy. Always a joy. I don't know. He's always got something for you. That guy is so brilliant, too. I don't know if you know that he actually went to school at Oxford. He actually went to Oxford. They don't let bums in there. I'm going to tell you. It's really interesting what I wasn't aware. Glenn interviewed him for his book, and it may have been one of the best interviews I have seen in heard, I would say, in a long time. He was incredible. So anyway, got that story. Want to make sure you can get that, and a couple other things that are really good for the weekend. I've got behind-the-scene tales that you got to hear from the White House that are hilarious. Stories about Trump you're going to definitely want to hear from J.D. Vance himself. And all of that coming up in the after show, the show after the show. The show after the show. That's Fastest Hour on Radio flying by. We're going to get to it coming up in just a moment. Stand by. Here we go.
This one's centered around autistic children. This one makes you want to throw up in a potted plant.
Senator Kennedy with the latest on the Somalia fraud. We'll get to that in just a moment. Some really good news before we get out of here too today, but let's check the markets. Whether you want to retire today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, you probably have an eye on the way things are running. You know, Paramount and Skydance are launching a hostile bid right now for Warner Brothers. And apparently, David Ellison told CNBC that this morning. They said that's this deal between Netflix and Warner Brothers. Trump says the deal could be a problem. They're going to need to get full approval on it, whether they can do that or not. I think that'll be an interesting story to watch. Right now, we're pretty mixed on our open this morning. Like I said, whether you want to retire today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, make sure that you're working with the folks who take a holistic approach, the folks at Talon Wealth. Yep, Mike Lester and the team will guide you through what you need to know. And, of course, like I said, make sure that you can thrive, not just survive during those days ahead in retirement. GuardingYourNestEgg.com, or you can log on and find out how they can help you. Call 616-661-1000. That's 661-1000, or online at GuardingYourNestEgg.com. But do it today. Do it before it's too late. I'm telling you, you're going to want to make sure that they are working with you ASAP.
This one makes you want to throw up in a potted plant. This one's centered around autistic children. Once again, in this third program, a group of providers, supposedly medical providers, got together and they went to the welfare authorities in Minnesota and said, we need money to help autistic children. You say, well, that's a wonderful thing to do. And then these providers, once the welfare department at the state government in Minnesota gave them the okay, they went out and started recruiting autistic children. You say, well, okay, we have to get the word out somehow. But they couldn't find very many autistic children. So they started going to parents in the Somali community and saying, can we call your child autistic? Can we certify that your child is autistic? If you'll let us do that, we'll pay you a bribe. Anywhere from $400 to $1,500 a child.
Incredible.
Now, once again, the program, it didn't start big. These were sophisticated crooks. And its leader was a woman by the name of Asha Farban Hassan. She was also in, by the way, on the feeding of the children.
By the way, I can't play the whole thing because we just don't have time for this. But this is how the whole thing works. They created this. They always do this. It's a perfect sounds perfectly reasonable, very compassionate. You want to help. Obviously, you want to help as much as you can these people who need it, right? And so they said, well, let's give some money to help these autistic children. Turns out they couldn't find enough. Well, that's probably not true, though. I would say turns out the idea was the target will be the autistic children. Then we'll take this money and we'll funnel it over to Africa or wherever, Somalia, wherever they wanted to send it. Kicks back. This is exactly how Democrats and lots of political class. Here's Lee Zeldin talking about how Democrats are doing this with the Green New scam.
We should have a zero tolerance policy, no matter who's in charge of government at any given time, for any waste and abuse whatsoever. And get this, we found in one program, Solar for All, which is a $7 billion program that we have canceled and Congress has rescinded, that the money was going through, at times, 4 pass-throughs. So $1 would go through 4 pass-throughs where each of them were taking at least 15 to 25% cut. So if we're going to be honest and fair and good stewards of tax dollars, that zero tolerance policy should be the way, whether it's President Trump in office or his predecessor. Unfortunately, his predecessor, when they had one-party rule in Congress, they were lighting tax dollars on fire left and right to pay off their friends.
They were paying off their friends $30 billion in these green new energy scams they had to cancel at the EPA, Lee Zeldin found, paying off their political friends. They're contributors. They're donors. The money probably funneled right back into the Democrat Party coffers.
How dare you?
Now the whole thing's been exposed. Again, it's the find out era. The question is how soon before we actually get the accountability, and do each of us have the patience really to make it through all of that? And that's one thing that I would certainly ask the Lord for more these days anyways, the patience to make it through. Hey, speaking of good news, Indiana superstar quarterback Fernando Mendoza in a post-game interview, I think this is from when they beat Ohio State over the weekend, going viral for great reasons. Fantastic.
Congratulations, Indiana, the Big Ten champs. How does that sound?
It sounds so beautiful. I want to give all the glory to God. We were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go!
You guys call yourself a bunch of misfits who found the right home at Indiana. Why was this the right place for this group?
It's the right place for process-oriented. We're going day by day. Whether it's the offensive line, the defense, the coaches, special teams, we're all process-oriented to one goal. That's our thing, is we're brothers. We can drag teams into the deep end because we know that we're going to stick together and we're the strongest glue ever.
Tell me about finding Charlie Becker, 3rd down, 2 minutes to go. We talk about Heisman moments, but take me through that one.
And what an incredible, Charlie's been, but he's been every single day.
We want to see this whole thing. It wraps up really nicely. What a great kid.
Man, as well as our defense playing lights out, and everybody just, what an incredible moment.
Congratulations, enjoy it.
Thank you so much. God bless, go Hoosiers.
There you go. I'll put it up in the stack today at justinbarclay.com. That's it for us. Glenn Beck is next. The after show is on the way. The show after the show. Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, the iHeartRadio app. Make it a great one. God bless.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, and our glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon.
All right, folks, stand by. We've got the after show ready to kick off. Just had to click a couple of buttons and we're flying. We are flying. Here we go. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. Welcome in to the after show, the show after the show, folks. What a fantastic day. Sun is shining. Yeah, it's cold. I know. But we got some hot news heating things up. And, man, we want to get you the stories you haven't heard anywhere else. We'll do that in just a moment. So hang on. Welcome in. First, I got to let you know what's happening in the Justin store right now. Everything in that store ready for Christmas. You want to make sure you grab something that you want to get delivered in time for Christmas. Now's the time to do it. We're ticking down the days. And we've got probably, I would say just safely to get things by Christmas, probably maybe a handful of days left to make sure you get your delivery in time. I'll do a deep dive into that and make sure that we've got several folks. We're able to grab some really good things over the weekend. Wrapping up our Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, but there's still good things inside and there's still good deals to be had. But you can check that out inside the store right now at justinbarclay.com/store if you want to dig in and get into it. We just played portions of this. I want to make sure we play the whole thing because it's just so good. It's Senator Kennedy talking about the Somali fraud, how they were able to pull off this, and we now know it's billions upon billions of dollars for this Somali fraud. And think about what they did to the numbers, too, of autism in places like Minnesota.
This one makes you want to throw up in a potted plant.
They faked it all. They took the money coming in from the government, and they sent it over to places like Somalia. Maybe that warlord sent some off in Maine.
This was centered around autistic children. Once again, in this third program, a group of providers, supposedly medical providers, got together and they went to the welfare authorities in Minnesota and said, we need money to help autistic children. You say, well, that's a wonderful thing to do. And then these providers, once the welfare department at the state government in Minnesota gave them the okay, they went out and started recruiting autistic children. You say, well, okay, we have to get the word out somehow. But they couldn't find very many autistic children. So they started going to parents in the Somali community and saying, can we call your child autistic? Can we certify that your child is autistic? If you'll let us do that, we'll pay you a bribe. Anywhere from $400 to $1,500 a child. Now, once again, the program, it didn't start big. These were sophisticated crooks. And its leader was a woman by the name of Asha Farban Hassan. She was also in, by the way, on the feeding of the children scam as well. And as best we can tell, they approached parents only in the Somali community. But once again, they couldn't find enough autistic children, so they bribed the many parents in the community, gave them money to certify that their children were autistic. In the first year, they were clever. They only asked for $3 million. The second year, in 2019, they asked for $54 million. Then in 2020, they went up to $77 million. And then in 2021, they really got greedy. They went to $183 million. And in 22, $280 million. And in 2023, $400 million. All total, in these three fraud schemes, these crooks stole $1 billion of taxpayer money.
Wow.
Here's I started to say worst part, but let me amend it. Equally bad part. You say, well, hello, how could this happen? Why didn't the people in the Department of Social Services and the Welfare Department in state government, when they saw these claims arising, why didn't they say something? Didn't they go out and check these businesses that were supposedly sites to feed homeless children? Didn't they go talk to some of the children and their parents to see if some of the children really were autistic? Didn't the state authorities go out and say, can you show us one of the homes that you're providing to the homeless people? After all, we're spending $1 billion.
Right.
They didn't. Because the politicians wouldn't let them.
This scam, and this is just, I think, scratching the surface, but they're all involved in it. This is a great comment, by the way. Freedom Chick here says, all the Congress people, remember all the Congress people who went to Ukraine when the war started? All that money. I always see these nonprofits, commercials, Sick for Hungry Babies and all that. Yeah, she's right. This is a very good point. This is how, this isn't a flaw in the system. It's the function. It's the function. This is how they designed it. This is what they wanted this to look like. This is how it's supposed to work. It's not broken. It's working. It's working. And all of these people at several different levels and in different areas and in different institutions. In fact, look at this. How about the DEA? This is one of Obama's guys. Look what he was busted doing, sending money where.
This is a Fox News alert. A high-ranking Obama DEA official was just indicted for trying to help the cartel.
Paul Campo conspired, allegedly, to launder up to $12 million in drug trafficking proceeds. Campo and an associate by the name of Robert Sensi are accused in the scheme of converting cash into cryptocurrency to buy 220 kilos of coke, worth about $5 million on the street, and then attempting to launder even more money, almost $750,000 from other drug sales for the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. These two gentlemen have been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy to distribute narcotics, and as you can well imagine, also with money laundering conspiracy. Campo has pleaded not guilty, and he is in custody tonight. There's a good chance, Jesse, he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Wow. Isn't that an interesting story, and one again that you haven't heard much about, have you? Can't make this stuff up. Can't make this stuff up. Big one over the weekend, lots of different things happening. Rosie O'Donnell, yes. We could talk about Rosie O'Donnell. She's really going off the radar. Her therapist asked her to do like a couple of days without paying attention to anything Trump, any news Trump. She did. She couldn't make it. She could only go a couple of hours. This shows you their obsession. I'm going to tell you why these people at TDS, et cetera, are so obsessed. Because there's so many things they don't like about themselves. Trump becomes that mirror for them. There's so many things that they're upset about in their life, the pain or whatever they're going through. We're all going through stuff, right? But people like this have to have a boogeyman. And so what do they point to? Trump. Trump is the author of all things bad in their mind. He is the one who is responsible. Could can possibly be them. I mean, that would be too brutal, right? That'd be too tough. Can't possibly be that they are responsible for their own problems. No. Look how crazy some of these people are. Have you seen the blue bracelet thing? I feel like we've seen this a while back, but I'll play it for you. They want to identify each other in their cult, so they're going to start wearing things to identify.
Familiar. I am experiencing this unfamiliar feeling, and I wondered if anyone else has been feeling this way. So I'm at the dog park, and I feel so mistrustful. Like, I don't know who's on my side and who's on the other side. I mean, I know we're gonna start wearing the blue bracelets, and I think that will help. But like, does anyone else feel that? I just have this fundamental mistrust. Like, I'm just looking at everyone going, are you part of why this happened? Are you?
What is this, by the way? What is this?
You a safe person? Like, I can only imagine how the marginalized communities are feeling right now.
What's a marginalized community? Can you explain?
And I also don't want people to be looking at me thinking, oh, white woman, she definitely voted for him. Like, it's a very unsettling feeling. Is anyone else?
No, I don't think about this at all. The only thing I think about is when I see people like you out, I go, is she crazy? Is that one of the wackos that's going to do something crazy like attack a Tesla or, stand in the middle of I'm just wondering. So please do, as if you need anything more to identify yourself. So blue hair, the nose rings, things like that. Listen, if that's you, don't get me wrong. You're probably an outlier, but at the end of the day, it's pretty easy to identify who some of these people are. And guess who? We know Richard Gere is one of them. Like he's the latest to come out.
I mean, clearly, this president we have is not a mature human being. This is not someone who has emotional intelligence. He behaves like a child. You have to treat him like a child who has impulse control problems.
Trump is one of the most successful men in the entire world. In Gere, the problem with the guy, I guess he's a, respected actor, I guess. I mean, I can't tell you the last thing he did. I don't know. But you can't say things like this and be taken seriously at all. You just can't. It's like calling Elon Musk a child or calling him an idiot. I mean, they make rockets now. They've never done this before. They make rockets that go up and come back down. Folks, that it's just if you say things like that, you ought to be ridiculed because there's nothing, we can't take anything you say seriously.
But that's the way we change. Anger obviously doesn't take us to a good place. Hatred's room. They are on the wrong side of history.
So it's Trump's fault. Trump is angry and he's full of hate. Not the other way around.
They're on the wrong side of the present. They're on the wrong side of the future. But it's a challenge to all of us to stand up.
Stand
and to
up.
be counted, to be responsible.
What does that mean? Stand up, be counted, be responsible. What, get my blue bracelet out? Is that what I ought to do? Or be responsible for violence against other people because I don't agree with them? What kind of ridiculous statement is that? It's pure evil. Here's Rosie O'Donnell. You never notice it's the millionaires who always talk about the billionaires? It's the millionaires. They always say the billionaires are the problem, not the millionaires. It's the billionaires, folks.
Interesting. Billionaires are the problem, people. We got to tax the billionaires. Like it or not, too bad, tough.
She's just an average Joe. Rich enough to be able to pull up stakes and go over to Ireland or wherever she's living now. She's just an average Joe. She's like you. She understands the struggle and the plight. The billionaires are the problem, though.
And how about Elon Musk not getting millions of dollars a month from the United States? How about that? Can we get a handle on that, perhaps? Maybe? And how about...
Again, he makes rockets that go up and come back down. I don't know what else to tell you. If the guy wasn't able to do anything, then I guess he'd be a Democrat because he'd be sucking off the government teat in order to survive, just taking in money for doing nothing. There are plenty of people doing that. And even government welfare, corporate welfare, rather. I mean, we see that all the time as well, but that's not what Elon's doing. Yes, he is obviously government contracts and things like that. SpaceX, etc. He's putting satellites up where you can have internet anywhere in the world, and he's able to launch rockets that go up and come back down. Give me a break.
The president stops pardoning convicted drug dealers while killing people in boats in Venezuela. How about that?
First of all, I think what she's talking about was that no, it wasn't the Democrat. Oh, he did pardon a Democrat. He's not happy. She must have her own show where she goes on podcasts. She was on a podcast talking about how her therapist isn't happy with her because apparently she wasn't able to turn Trump off. This shows you the problem. It's not Trump, it's her. She was not able to turn him off for just 2 days.
When people say, I changed my mind, we have to say, welcome back to reality.
She doesn't look well. The red nose. She sounds stout. This is not a happy individual.
Let's all be Americans together, right? Because
she's in Ireland, just remember.
What's happening is not only happening to Democrats, it's happening to everyone. And when the Medicaid cuts go in, old people are going to start to die.
No, they're not.
To die.
Unbelievable. Outright lie.
What he's done yet hasn't even hit us yet. Right. And if he's not stopped now, we have...
Nicole Wallace, supposed to be some journalist. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm so compassionate. A couple of millionaires sitting here talking to each other like, right. Like we care. Well, if you care so much, give your money away. Give it all away to these people who you care so much about. Give it away.
Lost our country. And I don't know, Nicole, how it is that some people cannot see it. My therapist said, why are you so upset? And I said to her, why are you not?
Because your therapist is sane. Your therapist is sane. This is not... I don't know how. I guess if you're crazy, you don't know that you are.
Yeah. I have that conversation too, because the gaslighting that I think you're alluding to, if you're a thoughtful, informed person, you do stop and say, well, maybe it is me.
It is. It is totally you. It's all of you. I don't know what to tell you. I just kind of got a bit of a chuckle out of that, and Again, these people claim to care, but they didn't say anything about it. They didn't care about the kids. They didn't say anything. And this is good news, by the way. They didn't say anything about these 62,000 kids that were lost that have now been found by the Trump administration. Who are they lost by? They're lost by the Biden administration. They let them come in by the buckets, the barrels. Who knows how they smuggled these kids in? 62,000 of them have been found, Tom Homan
I look
reports.
at numbers every day. On Friday, I looked at the numbers. There's over 62,000 children found by the Trump administration. Children that weren't even being looked for under the Biden administration. President Trump saved over 62,000 children's lives. Some of these children were in sex trafficking, we found them. Some were in forced labor. Some were being mistreated. I can't even discuss some of the mistreatment we found out about. President Trump, again, proves why he's the greatest president in my lifetime. Over 62,000 children rescued by President Trump.
You don't even want to know what happened to these kids. That's how bad some of this is. And it happened under the Biden administration watch. And why? It was all under the guise of funneling these people in for votes, for money. And it's absolutely pure evil. There's just no other way to say it. They claim they care about kids, but they're the worst.
Again, children that were ignored and weren't being looked for under President Biden. I look at
62,000 they found so far. Now, this, I think it was 500,000 or more that they said that were missing at one point. They were trying to find them. Things are ramping up with Venezuela right now. They're going to continue on that hoax for a while. They're going to try to continue to push that piece for a while. That whole Venezuela, fishing boat hoax. But meanwhile, there's something bigger happening in the Caribbean. I just want you to know it's not just about this piece. There's a lot more happening. Troops arriving in Puerto Rico. More troops are arriving in the island there to aid some of the operations. The beefing up of the Caribbean is happening right now. In fact, it's wild to watch some of this. There are things that I don't think we're completely privy to, and things that we will be privy to fully. Yeah, that's a bad beast, isn't it? That hovercraft, that was kind of cool. It's an amphibious vehicle. Speaking of cool, over the weekend, there's lots of big events happening right now. And, Trump world, there's so much. I don't know if you get to see any of the Kennedy Center honor stuff. But J.D. Vance was honoring, I think at the time, this was something for Sylvester Stallone, like a dinner they had for the Kennedy Center. And he tells this story about Trump and shoes inside the Oval Office that if you haven't heard, you're going to love this.
We'll talk about Sly and all of his great accomplishments and why we're gathered here to celebrate him. But I want to first say, people often ask me what it's like to be the Vice President of the United States. And a lot of it is exactly what you would expect it to look like if you watched on TV or just paid attention to the media. But sometimes you get these behind-the-scenes moments that I will never, ever forget for the rest of my life. So, for example, today, I'm in the Oval Office with the President of the United States and our great Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and we're talking about something really, really important. And the President kind of holds up his hand and says, no, hold on a second. There's something much more important. Shoes. And he peers over the Resolute desk and he says, Marco, JD, you guys have shitty shoes. We gotta get you better shoes. So he goes out and grabs a catalog. There happens to be another politician in the room. I won't say who, and you'll find out why in a second. And he actually runs us through this incredible shoe catalog. And we're by the way, honey, the president is gifting us with 4 pairs of shoes. And I think 4 pairs for Marco. And he's actually asking our size in the middle of this conversation. He's asking for our size so that he can make sure that we get the right shoes. And he asked this other politician, he said, I'm going to get you some shoes too. And so he says, Marco, what's your shoe size? And Marco's apparently an 11.5. He says, JD, what's your shoe size? My shoe size is 13. And he asked this politician, who I won't embarrass, what his shoe size is, and he says 7. President, he kind of leans back in his chair and says, you can tell a lot about a man by his shoe size.
By the way, what's interesting? They're saying that now this is another hoax. They come up with all of this stuff, which is hilarious. But now they're saying that Trump doesn't laugh. I can't. You can't make this stuff up. They're saying that he doesn't laugh. That's what apparently on The View they're pushing out. There has to be some place where they go to write this stuff to come up with. You can't make it up, but that's all they do. Listen to this.
So what happens is he has no armory for a comedian humiliating him. Yes. If you have to be self-aware. I mean, Obama. Yeah. Perfect example.
The guy is hilarious. He's got a great sense of humor.
Of someone who is funny and self-effacing.
Have you noticed that you've never seen Trump laugh?
Right.
I mean, I think that's weird.
Well, if you see him laugh, it's at someone else's expense.
One of his relatives.
He doesn't like to laugh publicly because he likes to keep the persona that he's tough. He doesn't. It's the same reason he didn't ever want people to know about all the good things he would do behind the scenes for the people who worked with him, etc. There's a story about a guy that helped him change a tire on his limo or something. This happened decades ago. And Trump paid off his mortgage. Now, they don't tell you these stories. He doesn't want that out in the public because that would hurt his ability to make deals. He would be seen as soft if he were out doing those things. He wouldn't be able to have the leverage that he has. And why? Because the art of the deal, he has to be able to walk away. He has to be able to do things that are seemingly ridiculous, and they think this guy's a tyrant. That's how he's able to get these deals done. And so in this case, this scenario, he doesn't want you to see him laugh. In fact, I've seen video of him laughing, and he just starts roaring, and then he catches himself. He knows he's on camera, and he comes back to serious. He's like, and he kind of catches himself because he knows that's the persona he has to keep up with. The hens on the View.
Relatives wrote that his dad saw laughter and smiling as weakness.
Because laughing is an emotion, and if he shows his emotions, he'll lose any power that he has over people. That's why they don't laugh, they don't cry. You know,
Who's they?
You know, people, dictators, fascists. They hate.
I have no idea who this woman is in the middle either. I have no clue. And I'm fine. I'm fine for not knowing that. This one's for our good friend Jason, Mr. Greenbud in California. And a big warning, if you haven't already gotten it already. Now, I know, Jason, you're not in California. You're in Washington. But just so you know, because I know you travel, West Coast, California officials are warning against foraging wild mushrooms after deadly poisoning outbreak. The state warns public not to pick the magic mushrooms. Not that you would, per se. Mr. Bud, I know you have a different preference of a whole other kind. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew about it. And because you don't want to take a bad trip, my friend. This story, I'm just going to drop here, and then I'm going to tell you can go find it in the stack later as soon as we get it online. It's more good news. A massive terror attack was thwarted. I was hearing whispers of this online. Finally seeing the story on this, a Pakistani immigrant has been arrested with a car full of guns, plans to carry out a mass shooting, and a chilling note about martyrdom. It happened in Delaware. His intent to carry this out on the campus of the University of Delaware. At least that's the story that we're hearing. I'm going to put it in the stack today just so you have it and you can be aware of it. Unfortunately, it's one that's not getting a whole lot of traction on reporting, although I believe it should, because it is big news. Yeah, he's in Oregon. But he does say, that we have harvested mushrooms in California, red ones with white dots. All right, listen, I'm just telling you, be careful, my friend. You've heard the news now. All the stores up and running right now for Christmas and the holidays. Anything you might like or need. The not far right so far shirts, the Gulf of America tees. We've got long sleeves. We've got hoodies. We've got the coffee mugs and all kinds of travel stuff too. Get geared up right now. Go to justinbarclay.com. Don't forget mypillow.com/Justin, mystore.com/Justin. They've still got some of these sales up. They still got the children's Bible story pillow up, the 5-pack for $29.98 that we got our girls. It is, it's a fantastic way to celebrate the season. I do it today. God bless.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen, but please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today.